Are you ready, my friend, to become a witch? Are you ready to activate one of the most powerful archetypes in the whole psychological spectrum, in the whole archetypal constellation? The witch archetype. Are you ready to become one of the most powerful magical entities in the whole multiverse? The witch. Let me give you a little bit of a spoiler. This episode will be one of the most powerful undertakings that you will realize in your life. The information that I will be sharing with you is essential, substantial. And if you practice what you will learn today, if you activate this archetype, you will modify your whole reality, because that is what basically the witch do. The witch manipulate matter. The witch beauty the world, beautify the world, enchant the world, become anew with a new world. The witch bend reality to his will. And if you activate this archetype, oh boy, my friend, your reality will be transformed. And welcome, baby, to the most transformative podcast in the multiverse. This is the Mastermind Podcast Challenge Season 2 with your host, your favorite doctor, baby, of all time, the Papacito of Puerto Rico, Dr. Derek Israel, and this is the episode 607. For me, it's an honor to be here talking about this witch archetype. If you like this episode, make sure to subscribe. Also, I have in the description a reproduction list with all the episodes that I have been talking about different archetypes. So I have been discussing the warrior archetype, the magician, the king, the queen, the anima, the animus. What else? The friend archetype, I will discuss it tomorrow. The persona archetype, I already discussed it. So yeah, I'm a clinical psychologist. I love Carl Jung. I love archetypes, and I do this. So if you like this, make sure to follow the other content on English, also on Spanish, to be better informed about these powerful psychotechnologies of transformation that we call archetypes. So let's go with the witch today. This for me is a very, very important episode because, as I have been telling you guys in my podcast, my grandmother, from the part of my mother, she was a witch. and I have this in my blood. So for me, this is an honor, and I want to dedicate this episode to my grandmother. Her name is Margarita, and obviously she is dead. She died like maybe 10 years ago, but I want to dedicate this episode for her and for her magic and what she did when she was alive, and maybe she continued to do, in the afterlife. Who knows? So let me show you a little bit of witches in the fiction world. Famous witches. I know that this is not kind of the whole spectrum. Witches has been in stories, in myths, in movies, in TV shows, in children's books, like a lot of them, many of them. I just selected the ones that I am very attuned to. But I'm pretty sure that you can leave in the comments below some of the other witches that you know from fiction that you can like mention as well to have a better repertoire. So, do you recognize this one? If you are just watching listening the audio, go and watch the whole episode, dude. Watch the screen, watch the video YouTube for you to benefit. So, this is Professor McGonagall. It's a very famous witch of the most famous movies of all time. One of the most famous movies of all time, Harry Potter. I love Harry Potter, and McGonagall was a very good witch. She was a kind of a white witch, right? So this is another one, Ursula from the Little Mermaid. My daughter is a fanatic of the Little Mermaid, so I sometimes see this Ursula. She's a black witch in the movies and stuff like that. So also this is a witch in the fiction world. This particular witch, I don't know if you're familiarized with this one, but she's from a Hispanic TV show. It's very popular. It is called El Chavo del Ocho. And basically, this TV show is about a neighborhood that people live in that neighborhood, and this is one of the members of that neighborhood, and she's a witch, and everyone tell like she's a witch, but she always denied that she's a witch. But in a couple of episodes you can see her working behind the closed doors and doing her magic. But I want to tell you something about La Bruja del 71. That is her name. This is the only witch of this whole list that creep like I was scared of her. Like when I was little, I was watching this TV show, and I was afraid every time that this witch came in the TV show. I was like, oh my god, the witch. So I don't know why, but this witch is creepy for me. This is another one, Baba from Dragon Ball. She's always helping Goku. At least in Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super, she's helping Goku, to do stuff like to go to the underworld and stuff like that. So she's a witch in Dragon Ball. Obviously, the witch on I forgot the name of these dudes. Gretel and Hazel, something like this. Yes, this is a very famous um story about these kids that are going to, I think that is a house of candy or something like that, and she wants to eat them. Gretel, I forgot the name, but it's a very famous story. Also, this one is from Snow White, the famous witch that gives the poison apple to Snow White or something like that. And my favorite witch of all, I have a kind of a crutch with this one when I was a kid. Hermione Granger. Yes, I already did one of Harry Potter, but Hermione is kind of, the protagonist witch of the whole series. And Emma Watson did a great job. And I love her, man. She's a great actress. And yes, I had a crush with her when I was like 10 years old. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that you know more witches in the fiction world, maybe in real life. So, leave a comment, make this a better episode with your collaboration and with your contribution. So, archetypes in a nutshell. I don't have time in this episode to go full detail on what is an archetype, but just in a nutshell and to refresh your mind, an archetype is energy. that you can basically access in your mind because it's already there, but sometimes it's off. And this whole episode is basically uh, a trial, or basically an attempt to put that archetype in the on mode, to switch from off to on. And when you access to that energy, basically you adopt this in your life. Like if you switch the archetype of the warrior, you become a warrior. If you turn on the archetype of a king, you become a king. Psychologically, but obviously these have a lot of metaphysical um, consequences. Like, for example, you are not only a king in your mind, but you will start becoming a king in your community. You will start becoming a king in the world. People will start following you because reality follows consciousness. So, whatever you activate in consciousness, it will follow in reality, in matter, in the world. So, this is the energy of the witch, the one that we are going to be activating today, this type of archetype. And also, I just want to mention that this is only the basics. Okay. You will hear in this episode master most of the basics, but you need to understand, to become a full blown witch, to become a full dragon in the witch world, this is an art, and this is a craft, and this is a technology. So no way you will receive all the imperative information in this episode. You need to go and study for yourself, practice for yourself, and to discover more truths about the witch for yourself. What I will try to do is in this episode is to give you the basic tools, the basic understanding for you to start moving in the way to activate this type of archetype. Now, maybe in the future, I will be doing a new episode more advanced, like maybe the witch advanced, or maybe the witch, the most profound episode ever, something like that. But maybe that will be in the future. This episode will cover only the basics. Now, also something that you need to understand, the witch archetype transcends what is to be a woman and what is to be a man. I know that most people associate the witch with women's, and that's okay. But let me tell you, I am a man and I am a witch. I am a bruja, la bruja. You see, that is in Spanish, the witch. Because this is an energy, and energy is not woman or male. Yes, it can be kind of feminine or masculine. And in this sense, this archetype is more feminine. Uh, if you are going to look for the masculine equivalent of this archetype, you are going to be working with the magician. The magician, I already discussed this one, is kind of the masculine equivalent of the witch. But if you're a man, you can be a witch. You have a witch inside. If you're a woman, you have a little bit of an advantage because you are already a witch, right? You're a mystical entity, you're a magical creature just for being a woman. But now you need to awake this. Now you need to make this something that is perennial, that is omnipresent in your consciousness. And I hope that this episode will help you to achieve that. Okay. So now we begin with the meat of this podcast. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Let's go. All right. So by understanding what I will be talking about, every point that I will be discussing, you will activate this archetype. So take notes. Also, I will suggest and I will show you, I will point you some traps that you can fall into if you are not careful with this archetype. So these points are basically how you activate the archetype. The first point is that witches are magical entities, magical psychological factors, nucleus of consciousness, patterns, mystical patterns, okay, that practice witchcraft or magic. So these are magical entities that practice witchcraft or magic. That's it. That is kind of the most basic definition of what is a witch. It's a magical entity that practice witchcraft. And notice this word witchcraft is a complex word based and constituted by two words. The first one is witch and the second is craft. So witch basically means the wise woman, a woman that is wise, a woman that have wisdom, a woman who knows, a woman that dominates certain technologies. In the case of a witch, the technologies of the inner anima or the inner emotions. You see, the inner affect. That is the technological tools that the witch operates with: the mood, the emotions, nature. So we can see that the witch is kind of a more evolved and sophisticated aspect of the anima archetype. So the anima archetype is also very feminine. We all know this. But when the anima becomes kind of magical and kind of empowered, then she can become a witch. Okay? So witch means a wise woman. But craft means something that you are building over time, something that is an art. And this is something that you need to understand about witchcraft and about being a witch. This is an art, exactly as to paint is an art, exactly as to do a podcast is an art, exactly as martial arts, as ballet, as whatever, making a movie. When you are a witch, you are doing an art as well. Like, we don't conceive witchcraft as an art, but it is. So it's something that will demand from you dedication, study, profundity, deepness, skills, abilities, practice, discipline. Like, you're just not going to become a witch and that's it. You can become a witch, yes. You can activate the archetype, yes. But that doesn't mean that you will dominate all the dimensions that a witch should dominate. Like, for example, to spell or to make a poison or to make uh, to make work with the moon or to understand the stars or to manipulate her consciousness or to change her form in consciousness or to dominate black forces. You see, those are kind of different aspects, configurations, superpowers that the witch is supposed to have. And notice that is an art. You cannot just activate the archetype and that's it, baby. I know how to materialize. Look, and you materialize $1 million. No, that is a craft. That is an art. It's exactly as alchemy. Like, you cannot transform everything into gold metaphorically in alchemy just by becoming an alchemist. No, that is an art. It's 20 years, 30 years of understanding, of studying, of meditating, of perfecting your soul. This is basically a work of your consciousness, a sophistication of your soul in order to become the best witch that you can be. So witchcraft is basically the craft of being a witch. The craft, the art, the sculpture of being wise and using that wisdom to manipulating matter, to manipulating reality, to transforming the world as a witch from magic, you see, through magic. The witch is not going to transform the world mechanically as the warrior may do. You know, the warrior may take a hammer and build something, pam, 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 like very warrior like, with a lot of energy, with a lot of movement. No, the witch will not do that. The witch will create a spell that maybe will materialize the building, or maybe that spell will convince people to do it for her. You see? So the witch is more in the ethereal. She works in the abstract. She works in the matrix of reality, in the code, in the software of reality. That is the place of the witch. She's hiding, you see. That's why you see that a lot of witches, they don't want people to know that they are a witch, because they work from the shadows, and also they have been persecuted by Christians and by other religious magician type power structures like people, and they have killed them, they have burned them and stuff like that. So of course they want to remain hidden. Now finally we are in an age, and this is a historical age, in which the witch can say, hey, you know what, I'm a witch. And in most countries they will not be killed by that self-disclosure, in most countries, but in a lot of countries they may be killed uh still. Okay, so this is a very, very important aspect. So also you need to understand that witches are a self-created goddess and always go against power structures. This is one of the most important aspects of being a witch. As a witch, you don't believe in Derek Israel. You see, I am a power structure. I'm a clinical psychologist. I'm a coach. I am selling you the witch archetype. I am basically structuring everything for you to be what you are already. You see? So you as a witch, you don't trust me. You don't trust me. You don't trust the Bible. You don't trust the church. You don't trust the government. You don't trust any institution that wants to organize things for you. As a definition, a witch is a rebel. She is undefined. She is unclassified. She is against dogma, against average, against modus operandis. That's why she has been persecuted through history, because no power structure that comes into power likes rebels. And the witch is always working for her own interest. She is not like the magician. The magician, notice, this archetype, he can work, or she can work for the king, you see, or for the church. You know, the magician that is an exorcist, for example, he's working for the church. He's exorcising demons, but he's not exorcising demons freely. Like, okay, I invented this prayer and I'm gonna do this new technique. No, he goes with the Bible. He goes with the rosary. He goes with structured stuff. That is the magician. The witch doesn't believe in structures. The witch, basically, the whole point of being a witch is to be free, is to break the status quo, is to liberate energy. And that's why the witch sometimes liberate dark energy. because she doesn't care. If you are judging yourself, if you are judging energy, if you are judging energy as good or bad, as demonic or as a valid or as a white or black, you are already lost. You are not a witch. You are a scientist. Notice. You are judging. You are in your rationale. The witch is not judging. The witch is not thinking. The witch is feeling. The witch is connecting to the whole universe, to her microcosm, to the macrocosm, to consciousness. She's not thinking about consciousness. She is being consciousness. She's not thinking about this particular plant. She is the plant. She's not thinking about the raven. She is the raven, or whatever animal, the serpent or the frog, whatever. So this is a very, very important point. So you need to understand, when you activate this archetype, you will go against universities, against your family, probably, against your marriage, maybe, against your boss. You know, you may be you may need to be an entrepreneur if you're a witch, if you are activating this archetype, because you will not kind of it will be difficult for you to stand and to um, make pieces with a boss, a very rigid boss, an 8 to 5 work. Like a witch, you don't will like that, because you don't like rules. You break the rules. You have fun breaking rules. And the feminine energy is like that. It's entropic, it's chaotic, it breaks stuff. The masculine energy is like a penis, it's like a phallus. It's try to build stuff, right? It tries to erect stuff. But the feminine energy is like an egg. When the sperm comes to the egg breaks down the sperm, and only by breaking down the sperm, by destroying the structures, the egg can create something new. So the witch doesn't break stuff just for breaking stuff. The witch breaks stuff because she knows in her wisdom that is the only way to bring the new order. Now, sometimes she's unbalanced, right? Sometimes she breaks stuff that she should not break. Of course, the witch is not perfect. All archetypes have a shadow, but the witch is always trying to become new herself. That's why she has some problems with youth and beauty, and I will get there. But she's always trying to become new, and to make everything in the world, everything in reality, new alike. We can say that the witch is kind of a evolutionary force. You see, evolutionary forces are always driving forward the new. Well, the witch is always driving forward the new. If she's healthy, if she's not healthy, if she's in the shadows, as I will tell you, she will become conventional, rigid, and toxic, as every other archetype that goes to the shadow. So the other point in this point is that she's a self-created goddess. What that means? Well, she doesn't believe in another god. She can be praying to another god. She can be praying to Mother Earth. She can be praying to Krishna or to Kali or to other stuff, to Allah, to whatever. But she knows that she is that god. In her consciousness, there's no dualism. She is the god. So she may be praying as part of her rituals, as part of her spells, incantations, magical language, pre-reality language. But it's not like, oh God, you are there, I'm here, I am, no, it's God, you are there and I'm also there. God, you are here, I'm also here. God, we are both the same. And because we are both the same, I can create just as you create. I am giving you my body to create because my body is the ultimate witchcraft technology. That is how a witch perceives the world. She's a magical entity. She's not just a normal human being that is working in McDonald's in a material form and just that's it. No, she's a magical entity in a magical world. She lives in a world of mystic realizations. She lives in a world in which demons, dragons, magicians, creatures, God, goddesses, all of those things exist. If you want more on that, go to my episode called Live a Mythopoetic Life or Do Not Live at All. And this is a consciousness that you can basically develop. You can get out of Maya, of the illusion of this world, of this material, mundane world, and you can enter to the mythopoetical world. Now, if you go to this world, not necessarily you will become a witch, you know. But if you are a witch and living in that world, that is a pro because you are synergizing psychological modules, programs that are running in your mind, perspectives, filters that are running in your mind that basically enchants the world. I just want you to put the glasses of a witch and to try to see the world as a witch sees the world. You see. So she is a god. She is a goddess. And she is self-created. No one created the witch. She created herself. You see. And this is something that is dangerous because the ego of the witch is big. She created herself. So she can become very narcissistic and very self-centered in the shadow. But this is part of the dangers of every archetype, of the danger. So also you need to understand that witches connect with the natural world to do the magic. The witches are very connected with the moon, with the sun, with the stars, with the trees, with the animals, with plants, with water, with all the elements as well. And I will go to the elements real quick. But with the natural world, that's why she can do some poisons and she can do some spells with that. She can use roots, she can use leaves, she can use leaves, she can use trees, she can use animals, dead, alive, she can use the earth, she can use water, she can use all the elements because she knows that those elements represent something in her psyche. The water represents her emotions. The earth represents the sexual energy and how you materialize something that was in your consciousness, how you make that concrete, how you make that tangible. The air represents the thought, the spiritual form, the abstract, the ethereal. The fire represents the desire, the intention, the potency, the power, the heat of molding, of changing, of concentration and focus in order to make something new. And all of that combined make the witch as a fifth essence, as a quintessence, as the self with capital S, something that transcends every other element and become a supra godlike element itself. So the witch is not afraid to be connected barefoot in the natural world. She's not afraid to talk into animals. She's not afraid to work with the spirits of plants, to connect with a palm, to connect with a bird, to connect with a river. If you're a witch, you will jump to a river naked because you are the river. It's not like the river is there and you are in another place. You are the water. If you're a witch, you will be surrounded by candles and fire because that is a representation of what is going on inside. That is the fire of your magic inside. You will eat earth, maybe, you know. You will be surrounded by earth. You will know a little bit of agriculture. You will know a little bit of botany. You will know a little bit of everything that is about the earth, rocks, ecology. And also you will do a lot of breathing exercises, and you will do stuff for altering your state of consciousness in order to fly in the air. It's not like the witch fly physically, she flies psychically. We see the witches in the broom flying, right? That is a representation of how they can fly archetypally, psychologically, magically, in an astral projection type of stuff. And they can do the work in that realm. And that realm precedes the physical realm. So work that is done in that type of altered state of consciousness, it will be manifested. It will become real in this world, in this material three-dimensional world. Of course, we have a delay, and that's why this is an art. Like weak witches, they they can create something, and maybe the delay will be like 20 years. A very powerful witch, maybe the delay will be 2 days or 1 day. Is depending on the spell, the structure of the spell, and also the magic and the energy that the magician or the witch have in its disposal at that moment. So that's why, as is the same with sales, one of the tricks of selling is that you need to become high energy all the time, and you need to biohack yourself to be high energy, because you will face so many challenges to sell that sometimes if you are low energy, like, you are self-sabotaging and you will not have success. So if you want success, you need to be high energy enough to be able to go for it, and conquer and conquer and conquer and conquer every time, even in the face of no's, even in the face of failure. Well, the witch also needs to have high energy in order to make the spells, because the spell is basically a transmutation of energy. What energy? Her own energy. What is her energy? The world's energy. Is only one energy. That is God. That is how that's name? Akasha. It's Akasha. It's astral light. Is the Om energy. Is the primordial sound. Is God. Is Chi. Is the energy of the whole. The one single pointed singularity of energy. That is basically what she used. But in a material human experience, sometimes we feel tired and we feel low energy, although we have infinite energy because we are everything. But if you are low energy, if you are in that Maya, if you are down on that illusion, well, your spell will be weak. So the witch know how to use nature and external stuff kind of to highlight, to intensify her energy and to do rituals. because rituals restructure your psyche. What you do in a ritual is basically restructuring your mind. If you say, I will become rich, maybe that do not restructure your mind. But if you do a ritual and you go to a river and you drown for 4 minutes and you get a near death experience and then you get out and you scream, I will be rich because I survived this ritual. Please don't do this. That is just a random example that occurs to me. The experience, the ritual, the sacredness of that action was so intense that you will reprogram your mind. So that's why they can cut their arms and maybe they can uh, get a pentagram tattooed in her backs, or maybe they can work with a bone or with a skull, because they need, or they can do an orgy and have a lot of orgasms while they are doing their magic, because they need an intensification of energy that is structured in ritual in order to change permanently, to change forever, to change with substance, to change the infrastructure of their consciousness, aka reality, because consciousness and reality is the same. It's a spectrum, but it's the same substance, the same substratum. You see? So very aware to the moon if you want to become a witch. Do moon gazing. I will do an episode on moon gazing in the future, very soon. I have been practicing with this, also activating my witch archetype, and it's awesome. Just go in the night and basically watch the moon, observe it, meditate on it, and you will notice that you will do a lot of magic in that meditation, because you are watching, basically you are staring at the nucleus of the emotions represented in an exterior sphere, the moon. You see, and then you try to then you can manipulate that affect, because it's kind of, how the moon in different phases activate different parts of the water and change the behavior of the water in the oceans. Well, it's kind of, if you are meditating on the moon, you are staring at the moon, it's like if you activate the waters of your body, and you are 75% water, 75% blood. And when you make your body so liquid, at least in consciousness, yes, you are still materialized, but in your consciousness, you become more liquid and you can mold better reality. You can mold better your mindset. You can mold and change better your intentions, your goals in life, your desires, your habits, and the realities that you are pre-manifesting by just working with the moon. But of course, you need to take into consideration the seasons. The full moon is more expansive. When it's not full, it's more contracting. So yes, I told you, this is basic. I cannot go to the full details to become a witch, but I'm just giving you the nuggets for you to start your own journey and your own exploration. For example, you know that you need to study astrology, alchemy, natural elements in order to become a witch. And then you can go and, start your discovery. Also, the witches understand how to manipulate the elements to create magic. I already talked about this. Very important. Also, the witches practice sex magic. This is very, very important. The orgasm is one of the most potent tools for the witch. And this can become a trap as well. Like the witch can forget that sex is about to enjoy the act, right? It's about enjoyment. Also, it's about pleasure. It's about love, intimacy. The witch can become so obsessed with manifesting realities through the orgasm that she can forget about it. Or she can become so obsessed as using sex to only for fertility, And the witch is very, very associated to fertility. Remember, to bring the new. What is fertility? To bring the new in a human form. So if you watch a couple of the witches movies, I recommend this one that is called Midsummer. I know that there's another one that is called The Witch. I will watch it today. But Midsummer is an amazing movie. It's an amazing movie from A24, the production company. And you can, I don't want to spoil you, but in a sex scene of that movie, you can kind of see how the sex in some of the witches is not about pleasure anymore. It's about magic. And I disagree with this because I am a magician, I'm a witch, but also I'm a lover. And the lover archetype is another archetype that I discussed in my reproduction list that you can go. And sometimes I do magic. Most of the time I am doing magic, but I don't forget to love. You see, I don't forget to make my partner to enjoy. Sometimes the witch only wants the man, if this is a woman, only want the man to ejaculate, and that's it, because she wants the seed and she wants the fertilization, but she's forgetting about enjoying the whole process. You see, or she's maybe very focused on the concentration of the orgasm and the intention and the image and the visualization that she's about to materialize, and she's forgetting about the sensuality of it, the tantra of it, the Kama Sutra of it. So I think that if you want to become a more balanced witch in your life, don't forget to make love. Yes, it's a magical practice, but as well is an intimate practice. So do both in a very balanced kind of way. Okay. So don't waste as a witch another orgasm. I have a couple of episodes about this. I have a course that is called Sexual Mastery. In that course, you can go at derekisrael.com. The link is in the description. And I talk a lot about different type of techniques to master your sexuality. But also I have a whole episode about how to use orgasm to create material realities, if you want more information about this. Also, witches alter their consciousness to modify reality. And this is very important. Witches use mushrooms, witches use psychedelics, witches use LSD, witches use peyote, witches use cannabis, witches use stuff. They can use also more natural stuff like sound waves, uh, sun gazing, looking at the sun. I have an episode on that if you want to listen to that. What else? Plants, herbs, obviously, but they try to alter their consciousness. Also with the orgasm, of course. Why? Because when you have an altered state of consciousness, you can mold consciousness more easily. And that is basically the representation, as I told you, about how they can fly in a broom. They can fly, and this is very historical because they used to stick this, the stick of the broom in her vagina with some altered state of consciousness liquid in there, maybe ayahuasca or maybe another type of herb. And obviously in the vagina, it will go to your circulatory system very quick. It's like a lot of women, they used to, I don't know if that is, maybe it's a practice, of course, but back in the day, like 10 years ago, this was something very unfashioned. Like women used to stuck sticks in her butt, and men as well, I suppose, with alcohol, because then they got drunk very easily. Like, so if you are going to a party and you only have $5, you probably will not get drunk with $5, right? Because maybe you can only drink 2 beers, maybe 1 beer, or one drink, and that's it. You are out of money. But if you, and this was the rationale, I am not suggesting you that you do this. This is very dangerous, but I'm just saying that this is a practice that a lot of people use it, and also witches use it. But if you put like a tampon with pure alcohol like a vodka or a whiskey in your butt, in your anus, or in your vagina, and you stick it there, you will get drunk immediately. And you have, you wasted the $5, of course, right? But you will be drunk the whole night, probably, right? Okay, so witches, they used to do this, and they still do it. Like they put LSD in their vagina or in their eyelids, or in their eyes, in something that is very, very in direct contact with her blood, and they can go and fly. And that is their metaphor of I'm flying. I'm flying in a broomstick because I deactivated my microphone. I'm flying in a broomstick because I am sticking that in my vagina with an altered state of consciousness substance. I blow your mind? Well, the witch will blow your mind. and and we see that in Halloween so natural. Well, you will not see the witch so natural again in Halloween. But yeah, that is basically the origins, the roots of the broomstick stuff. So, as a witch, you should consider altering your state of consciousness. If you don't want psychedelics, you can use it. You can use pranayama. You can use breathing exercises. You can use sound waves. Theta waves, delta waves, alpha waves. How do you call this? Isotropic sounds, binaural beats, um, shamanic music, shamanic drums. You can use the fire meditation, meditating on a fire. You can just use meditation, yoga, kundalini yoga. Uh, what else? Cold showers. You can alter your consciousness doing a lot of stuff. Like you don't need drugs to do it, but drugs is a very, very um, popular way because it's so direct. Like if you take an LSD, there's no way that you are not going to alter your consciousness. Like maybe if you do a breathing exercise, for example, maybe you say, yes, I feel it. Or maybe you say, I didn't feel anything. It can happen. But if you take an LSD, you are going for a ride for 8 hours. You are going to be flying in the broomstick. So, okay, the witches also can be very communal or lonely. So sometimes you will see in the myths that the witch is very lonely. Like, for example, the La Bruja 71 that I show about the Hispanic El Chavo del Ocho program, she's very lonely, right? But sometimes you see these movies in that they are like a cult. They have like this communion of witches, like a group of witches, like a sect. Well, that is very common as well. A lot of witches together, they can synergize their powers, and they can become very, very strong together. It's like a collective consciousness, like a collective psychosis can, form, and they can change a lot of the collective consciousness of the whole humanity. As Christ said, if you are praying with other person, it will be more stronger. I will be there if you are praying with another one, something like that. So if there's two witches together in a same intention, in the equal objective, oh my gosh, it's gonna be powerful. That stuff, that magic, it will be very powerful. But you don't need to do it. Take in consideration your personality. Maybe if you are a more extroverted woman, maybe you will like to find a witch circle. You can find them online. Now it's very popular. You can go and find blogs to find retreats, and you will find other witches, of course. But maybe if you are more like an introverted, you can work alone. Like you don't need to be collective to activate an archetype. Okay. um, you can do great stuff by yourself. I have been a meditator, magician, witch, um, shaman. I have an also the shaman archetype episode if you want more on that. That is basically more on healing, how to use magic to heal the community. That is the shaman. And I have been very lonely in this work. Like I don't participate on groups. I don't meditate on groups. I don't go to shaman communities. I don't, I don't do that. I even in martial arts, I'm learning martial arts, and I am doing it by myself. That is how I do it. I don't know, it's how I feel better. I like to fail alone and I like to succeed alone. That is my personality. But you don't need to be like me. Just do you, okay? As a witch. So also witches serves mostly to their ego, and this is very important. And this is the greatest weakness, liability, and trap. That's why the witch can become very demonic and very diabolical because the ego is Satan. Satan is the ego. Satan is the enemy. And sometimes the magician, and this is a contrast with the witch, the magician is on service of God, is on service of another thing, an authority, like very similar to the warrior. That is the warrior is always fighting for something that is greater than himself. But the witch doesn't care. The witch only care about herself, And this can be, she can develop a very strong, powerful, big ego. And this is a trap. So if you're a witch, understand, try to balance your witchcraft with becoming humble, with humility, because a big ego always will crush your magic. And the real root of being a witch is to work for the world, is to work for good, for the maximum good. And sometimes the maximum good is not your maximum good. It's not the maximum good for your ego. But if you're only ego based, ego centered, you will only take into consideration your ego and your needs, and that's it. You see? And you will be a very bad witch. You will be a black witch. So, and I will talk about that. You can be black or white as a witch. And I know that I told you before, like, witch doesn't care. Like, they don't want classifications. But we, as observants, like scientists, that we are trying to classify the world, we can see the different type of witches. Like, for example, the black witch is very self-centered. The magic is always for her interest, and she can basically try to crush people with her magic. He can try to kill people with her magic. He can try to make people poor. She's always making enemies. And she's black, man. She's dark. She's a bad vibe. Like, if you encounter one of those witch, you will feel the vibe. And it's like, oh my gosh, dude, what the heck is going on with your magic? You see? If you encounter a white witch, it's different. It's almost like an angel. Like, she's a witch, of course. She do magic, of course. She can navigate also dark forces, of course. She's based on their ego, of course, but the ego becomes universal. And I have an episode that is called The Universal Ego. And it's not about individualization anymore. It's about universalization. Because when the ego gets very individual, it transcends itself and becomes the universe. And the white witch is the universe itself. So she's operating from the heart. She's operating from soul. She's operating not for the ego. She's not a slave of their ego. She's not a slave of their attachment. And that is one of the contrasts. The black witch is very attached. It's attached to youth, to the world, to beauty, to so many stuff, to richness. The white witch, it is supposed to not be attached. It is supposed to be transcendental. It's transhuman. It's trans ego. So be a white witch, please. And maybe you will go through a phase of blackhood, of black magician type stuff, like black witch, maybe. But always have on mind that you are progressing in the spiral evolutionary force towards to be a white kind of witch, a witch for good. That is the real witch that can create a collective personal development for the world. I am not just showing you this to become a diabolical witch, egoic witch. No, I'm showing you this. I'm teaching you these principles because I understand and I know that you can use witchery for good. And I'm inviting you to do that. Now, it's your responsibility. You do whatever you want, man. I cannot mandatory establish that you need to do this because you are a witch. You will not listen to me, right? In the first place, you will say, "Screw you, man!" You will laugh as a, and that is part of the laugh of the witch. Why they laugh so crazy? Because it's a bully type of laughing. She's laughing at everyone that is trying to stop her. She's like, "You cannot stop me!" You see? So you will do that. But hey, take that into consideration. Be a white witch. Um, Also, witches loves beauty and youth, and this can make them wise or ungrounded. Like if you are very attached to youth and to beauty, you will become an ungrounded black witch, and you will become a conventional witch that is trying not to bring the new, but to preserve the old. Notice, politically, you will be on the right. So if you're going to be a better witch, you need to be on the left. I am not saying that politically you need to be in the left or in the right. I'm just saying in the magical spheres, you are more like in the left, in this analogy with politics. So that's why you see in a lot of myths that the witch is trying to become beauty again or beautiful again, or she's looking in the mirror and she's like, oh my God, I'm getting old. You know that is the shadow of the witch. The witch that is white, she doesn't care to become old. She loves to become old because she understands the seasons of life. And she understands that there is spring, there is summer, there is fall, and there is autumn. So there is, you know, um, winter, sorry. So there is all of them. Like she's not attached to one of them. She's in flow, in peace, in love with all of God, with all of the facets of God, even death, even to become old, even to be not beautiful anymore in the conventional norms of beauty. But the witch that is white and wise knows that beauty is more than just the physique and the face. Beauty is the art, beauty is the representation, beauty is the archetype itself, is more than the body, you see. So don't get attached to beauty and youth. Don't use your magic to do that for yourself. Use your magic to bring beauty and youth to the world, not to you. You see, that is the white witch. And also, you need to know that witches are not afraid to deal, use, and become dark forces. They are not afraid of the dark. They are not afraid of demons. They are not afraid of the dead. They are not afraid of black creatures. So if you are kind of a woman or a man that you are like, oh my God, I'm get very scared when I see horror movies, maybe this archetype is not for you, man. When you activate this archetype, you will see spirits, you will see demons, you will see stuff. It's part of it. It's like to try to activate the warrior archetype, you will see war. You will go to war. If you activate the king or queen archetype, you will lead people. It's part of the archetype. So with the witch, you will work with the dead. If you're afraid of this, don't do it. Don't do it. I always remember when my grandma, the witch, she was dying, like one day before she died, she started screaming in her bedroom because she said, there's a lot of people here and they are coming for me. And she was alone in the bedroom. So those people were spirits. So yeah, that is part of being a witch. Like you see stuff, and of course, when you are dying, you are in the liminal space, you are in the transitionary space. Maybe you can see stuff, but yeah, it's kind of both. Like she was dying, and also she's a witch. So if you're afraid of those stuff, man, don't do it. But don't be afraid of it. Remember, all of the dark forces are also in you. That is part of the individualization process of the Jungian psychology. That is part of the archetypal stuff that is called the shadow archetype. And I will do a very comprehensive episode of the shadow archetype. Like you need to understand you are the dark and also you are the light. You are both. The ones who imagine the light fantasize, says Jung. But the one who acknowledge the dark awakes, says Jung. And also, the last point that I want to tell you is that you are a modern witch. This is it, baby. The witch is not something from the past. The witch is here, and I want to recommend you this book that is called Witchcraft, and it's amazing. And this book is like it will give you a lot of information, but also it will give you a lot of art. Is I bought it in a museum, and I'm learning a lot about the witch with this art, with this book, and let me just read you a quote that I think is gonna be a very good closing for this amazing podcast. I hope that represent that the witch is now, the witch is the present, the witch is due in these times, and the witch will continue to evolve and to bring the new. So the witch is not going away. This is an archetype. It's something that transcends time, transcends space, transcends gender, transcends sex, transcends politics, transcends culture, transcends individual psychologists, transcend everything. So look, this is a prayer from Media of Hecate from Ovid, the Metamorphosis. I don't know what the hell is that. But anyway, say, O night, faithful friends of mysteries, and you golden stars and moon, who follows the fiery star of day, and you, Hecate, goddess with threefold head, you know my designs and come to strengthen my spells and magic arts. And you, earth, who offered your potent herbs to Magi, and airs, wines, mountains, streams, and lakes, and all you woodlands gods, and all you gods of the night, be present now. So you are a modern witch. You are all the elements. You are all the goddess. You are all the gods, and you are omnipresent now. This was your Dr. Derek Israel. Remember, go to my link in the description and search the reproduction list of archetypes if you are more interested in this type of subjects. Also, you can donate in Patreon if you want this podcast to stay free. The link is on the description. Thank you for everyone that is donating. I really appreciate it. Also, I have a Telegram group you can join. The chat is on the description as well. And also in derekisrael.com, you can find all the services that I can provide you. I can provide you guru spiritual service. If you want to activate these archetypes, I can help you personally with this. Just book the service that is called the guru service. Also, I have a service about coaching, life coaching. If you want more mindset, habits, motivation in your life, you can go to that. Also, I have the psychotherapy service for people in Puerto Rico. So you can go in therapy with me. Also, I will be publishing a lot of books, and I also have a lot of courses. I have self-mastery, self-love course, meditation course, hyper productivity course, sexual mastery course, life purpose course, everything you can find in derekisrael.com. And I see you in the next time. Thank you.